how do you balance that against the other experts that don't believe these things?
Oh, I don't know. Again, it's just a knowing, I think...
it's just a knowing?
Yeah, again, it's a knowing. I mean...
How does knowing work? Where does this come from?
Your heart.
Okay.
It's just in your heart.
And so if Jim in his heart feels like that the Illuminati is not real and there is no globalist conspiracy going back thousands of years,
then I would show him this.
Well, hey, that's not bad. If you're doing your job and you feel retired, that's a pretty good deal,
that is a
right?
fact. That's just an absolute fact. I feel like I'm retired.
Cool. All right, got that one going.
I'd go nuts if I didn't have it. Too much free time.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's a concern with people when they do retire often.
Yeah, I can't see me doing it.
Not enough things to do. I don't know if I'd ever have that problem. I find that I always find something to do. Like I could always do this. Like this is fun right here. So.
God, did you see the high school kid who's interviewed like 110 World War II veterans?
No, I didn't
130. See that. I forget what the number. His goal was to get 100, and once he got 100, he just didn't stop, and he's got quite a documentary.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's probably good. All right, is this one recording? That one's recording. I think we're recording on all of them. So, hey, first of all, I'm Nate.
Nate?
Yep. What's your name?
I'm Dan.
Dan? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Wait, my marker's there. Here we go. Dan. D-A-N, Dan?
Yeah, simple one.
All right, cool. And you're cool with me recording and everything?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, like I was saying, the goal is to explore a belief you have, and hopefully I can help you kind of critically reflect on your reasoning that supports that belief through civil conversation, keeping things cool. That's the idea. So it sounds like you already have an important belief to you that you would like to talk about, and if you could kind of encapsulate that in like one sentence or two, what would that be?
Oh, well, right here I have John Lear, the son of Lear Jets, and he is one of our nation's best pilots. And he has an affidavit in his testimony about the flights that took place on 9/11 that what you saw on TV is physically impossible to do with commercial airliners. And he goes into extraordinary details, so I recommend everyone go to Yahoo search, because Google has a tendency to eliminate all this stuff. So if you go to the Yahoo search engine, you'll find John Lear's affidavit.
Okay. And so the belief would be that what was shown on TV wasn't true.
Total
was
psyop.
Fake or something like that, or
complete psyop.
Okay. So is there more to it than that? When you say psyop, what do you mean?
Well, our nation has an occult agenda. I mean, it's right there on your $1 bill. It's laid out in Washington, D.C. And 9/11 was a biblically based genetic ritual. And everybody missed what took place that day in front of their faces.
Biblically based genetic ritual?
Yep.
Okay, so are you saying that that it didn't happen, or that it was just that the story's not 100% true?
Yeah, the story's not 100% true. 2,996 people died that day. That's just a fact.
Okay, so you do believe that people did die in the buildings?
Right.
Do you believe that the buildings were destroyed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So buildings were destroyed, but do you think that they weren't hit by airplanes?
No. And John Lear shows that only one plane we saw, and that's Flight 175. The other three, you don't have any any cameras shots of the other ones. So it all comes down to 175. And if you do that in slow motion, you see you're watching a cartoon. And John Lear makes it very clear that it's physically impossible, so the videos themselves have to be fake. And we got psyop that day. The sad part about it is in 1933, Hitler burnt the Reichstag building down, told all of Nazi Germany that they'd been attacked by the communists, and came to power, put in the Enabling Act. So you can see lots of similarities that we're heading down the same road, and we better wake up pretty soon.
Okay, so are you saying that that the Twin Towers were destroyed by the government?
By a deep state. That's the popular term right now. With an occult agenda. So it's bigger than our government. It's a global secret society that is controlled by mystery schools, ancient texts that predate the Bible by thousands of years.
Ancient mystery schools? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what I'm kind of hearing was that 9/11 wasn't the result of like Islamic terrorists or Al-Qaeda flying airplanes into the buildings, but it was an intentional act done through the United States government, but actually part of a deep state occult agenda.
Yeah, a globalist cult agenda.
Globalist secret society, occult. What do you mean by the word occult?
Well, you got to get into ancient Sumerian cuneiform texts, and you got to get into the Bible. I mean, the Bible's a repository of hidden secrets that are encoded. It's a story about genetics, and you just got to spend decades of research to understand that.
Okay.
But they have an agenda.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you came with this affidavit from John Lear, this pilot, right?
Correct.
Would you say is that like the most important reason that you have for believing this?
Lots of reasons. World Trade Center 7 was demolitioned. It was at 5:20 p.m. that night, was not hit by a plane, and you watched the 47-story building drop in 7 seconds, which is a classic demolition. So you got the architect for engineer movement led by Richard Gage, who has done over 600 presentations around the world showing that building was demolitioned, and he is still at it today. So look these names up, and you'll find just incredible amounts of information. And believe it or not, the Twin Towers were powderized by a direct energy weapon, and Dr. Judy Wood has 4 books. She's a material and structural engineer from Clemson University. And a bunch of free documentaries on YouTube, and you can watch a 700-foot column of steel turn to dust and float away in front of your eyes, just the way the buildings were powderized and floated off into space in front of the whole world's face.
Interesting. Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot you have that you're referencing here. Before we really dive into any of these particular things, I got just a couple of kind of opening questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
So first, how confident are you that this is true, that 9/11 was part of this deep state globalist occult agenda?
100%. Zero chance I'm wrong. I've been studying it too long. Too many coincidences come up in the tens of thousands of coincidences, it simply becomes a fact.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then similarly, on a scale from 0 to 100, how important is it for you, for your beliefs to be true?
I don't know. It's just a knowing. Trying to save the world, trying to wake people up. Very spiritual guy. I am a Christian, and you got to turn to prayer. We got to turn to God. This is getting out beyond us now, and we're going to need divine intervention, and we also need to take a stance along with it. So 9/11 is a giveaway. If I get into it's too hard, it's too personal on where they're going with that agenda. So I kind of went further back because people will be able to handle this information a little better than the information.
Do you feel like people don't respond very well to the information you try to provide them?
No, over the years they've done really well. They've listened, and I know how to do it professionally. There's tremendous amount of scholars. Major General Albert Stubblebine, that's the highest you can get in the U.S. military in any division. And he studied photos during the Cold War, and he has shown that the Pentagon was hit by a type of a bunker-busting cruise missile. And John Lear has shown that it's physically impossible to fly a commercial airliner at 550 miles an hour, 20 feet off the ground. It can't be done. So, Major General Albert Stubblebine, just another aspect of it.
Okay.
It's a giveaway. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. So coming back to let's kind of get at before. It sounds like, would you say that your beliefs being true is very important to you?
It's not my beliefs. It's just not even of this world. I mean, I'm just passing through. This is not my home, and when you understand 9/11, you're understanding the real history of our existence. For Christians, we all know Lucifer's the prince of this world, So all this stuff can kind of take a comic strip version of Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. But when you get into ancient Sumerian cuneiform texts, and you see that our presidents were all associated with these mystery schools, and the wealthiest, most powerful people on the face of the earth are associated with this mystery school, you realize that they didn't make this story up. Our Apollo astronauts were all 33rd degree Masons, which is not a knock on Masonry, because there's lots of good Freemasons, but the Illuminati infiltrated them, and there is really an evil group of people that sit at the highest level.
Okay, it sounds like what's kind of underlying all of these different beliefs you have is this central belief in this Illuminati. Is that the is that the same thing as the global? Is that the globalist occult secret society?
Yeah, that's what's on your $1 bill. That's Adam Weishaupt and Lord Rothschild, the wealthiest man on the face of the earth, financed that particular group. And Hitler had the exact same belief system as the Illuminati. He just had his version of it, and he thought he was going to fulfill the story and bring in the New World Order.
Interesting. So would you say you're also 100% confident in that this Illuminati is running all these different things?
Oh, absolutely.
100%? Okay.
Yeah. They stay in control. And 9/11 is a giveaway, and probably cost Kennedy his life. And we have a secret space program. You can look that one up too. You have some brilliant scholars who have decades of research showing that they just have never been honest with the general public.
How do you think your life might be different if you didn't believe this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd be chasing the material world. I'm so consumed by this, and it all makes so much sense that all my treasures now are stored in heaven. This is not my home. I'm just passing through here. So
You said that a couple times.
Yeah, if you understand it, we wouldn't be materialistic if we really knew the real history of our existence. We would all be helping each other get to the other side.
Okay. So are you saying that your belief in the Illuminati and this globalist conspiracy, secret society, is informed by your religious beliefs, or what's the relationship between those two?
Yeah, sure, it is. I've been a lifelong conspiracy theorist, so I'm studying the inverse of the Bible. And believe it or not,
the inverse of the Bible?
The inverse of it. It's their book too. So that's why I said it. 9/11 was a biblically based genetic ritual. If you know anything about the secret societies, King Solomon and Solomon's temple are everything to their group. And Hiram Abiff is the builder of the temple, the first temple. And the pillars of Jacob and Boaz, which you pass through to get to the Ark of the Covenant, were 23 cubits tall. You can go to the Book of Kings and you can see this. And the Twin Towers represented those pillars. And I believe that the Ark of the Covenant had the genetic code in it and not the Ten Commandments. So we're getting into complete genetic ritual here.
So are you saying that maybe some of the things in the Bible aren't true?
Yeah, I think it's been manipulated. I think that potentially even changed the first sentence of the Bible. The first sentence is Bereshit. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and all ancient sacred texts of significant value begin with the letter A. In Hebrew, that's A-L-E-F. Put that in front of that Bereshit, and you got Father of the beginnings, created the Elohim in the heavens and the earth. So there's just this possibility that they removed the supreme being and replaced it with a lesser God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you believe in the God of the Bible, or like a different God?
I believe it's been manipulated. I think, all the conspiracy theorists, whether they're Bible oriented or not, have a great love for the source of our cosmos,
Okay.
It's just some of them don't want to take the Old Testament literal.
Okay.
So they're
do you take the Bible literally?
Not even close. No.
Okay.
No.
But it sounds like the Bible does strongly inform your beliefs about the Illuminati.
You got to rightly divide the word. You got to get in there and do some research on it. You can't take the little bit of leaven puffs the whole loaf. So you can't take it all as the inherent word of God, or you're going to end up like some of these bozos we have on TV that all missed 9/11 and what really took place that day.
When you say, like, how do we rightly divide the word? So this is like
through research,
an interpretation thing. How does one go about doing that? How can somebody know whether they're interpreting ancient texts correctly or incorrectly?
Well, I just study scholars. I love ancient text scholars, and they all everyone contradicts everybody. So when you take in as much information as I have through my whole life, you come out with a generalization. So it's not about an exactness, it's a knowing in your heart, and like I said, they sacrificed those people that day, and they have a God, and some refer to him as the Anunnaki. It could be another name for the fallen ones. Oxford PhD, Joseph Farrell, one of my favorites. He doesn't like any of those words. He calls them our genetic cousins. And the thing they're hiding the most is that there's a more advanced civilization in our past. And that's what the secret societies are hiding. And that means that there was a more sophisticated being that's part of this group, you know. And Hitler had this blonde-haired, blue-eyed Aryan race, and you get into ancient texts, it's overwhelming that these things were here.
Interesting.
Yeah,
So,
they were bearded and larger than us. So
yeah, so you're talking about, you know, how you come to these conclusions and listening to scholars. But you also say it's a knowing in your heart.
yeah, that's what you come away with, because there's no exactness in the story. So yeah, it's just you come away with a knowing.
I'm curious, like, just hypothetically speaking, let's say we had a third person come up to us, call him Jim, right? And Jim also reads the Bible and is spiritual, believes in a higher power, creator God of some sort, right? And Jim reads scholarship, and he reads biblical scholarship, and he's interested in these ancient texts and Sumerian cuneiform and all this sort of thing, right? But let's say Jim comes to a different conclusion than you do. Jim doesn't believe in the globalist Illuminati secret society. Jim doesn't see the same inverse of the Bible maybe that you do. How could let's say if I just want to know what's true.
Right.
If I just want to know what's true, and I hear you talk about how you arrive at your beliefs and that you have this knowing in your heart, and then I hear Jim explain that, you know, he does a similar process and he just knows in his heart the opposite. How could I figure out? How could I rightly divide?
Well, it's not necessary. I mean, everyone's got their own little journey. This is just my passion to go the ancient text route. You could, you know, look at those doctors and nurses and people who go into Africa and give their lives, you know, giving love. There's just so many different routes you can go there, and they're all good.
What is the
so
thing
you're
where
so his
the doctors,
his version? Yeah, I mean, you know, the ones who take no money and go into those poor nations and just give their life helping people. I mean, that's part of a faith. That's part of the faith too.
Does that
this guy that just came up,
Jim,
Jim guy, you know, you can go that route. There's
okay. Does it matter if Jim believes what you believe?
No, it doesn't matter at all. As long as we love each other, have respect for each other. That's the bottom line. Jesus said, "Love one another as I have loved you," and Buddha said it too. Buddha said it for him. I think he said like 118 of the same things Buddha did. So he was pretty in contact with the source of the cosmos, the true supreme being.
So this kind of comes back to something I was trying to get to a little bit earlier, and I'll ask it a different way. If this belief wasn't true, would you want to know it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So, how could we possibly?
I'm sure that
out?
I have some things. I have some things wrong. I mean, I'm constantly adjusting it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you're open to changing your mind?
Oh,
about
heck
these
yeah.
sorts of things? Okay.
I had Steve Miller as a teacher out here. He was great. Allow people to change.
Great musician too.
Yeah. Yeah. Different guy.
Different guy. Not the same Steve.
Gotta allow people to change. Yeah. So it's constant. You're constantly readjusting your beliefs.
When you say you're at 100% confidence that this is true, what does that mean to you?
Yeah. Oh, it's a peace. I think your soul leaves your body. You know, it's just the world, material world is just not important.
Okay.
God, we went down the wrong path and we got to turn it around. You know, the material world is total enslavement.
Yeah. And if that wasn't true, would you want to know that?
Sure.
Okay. So it does sound like you are open to changing your mind. Because sometimes, I'm just asking these questions because sometimes when people say that they're 100% confident in something,
right?
They mean that there's nothing they could learn
Yeah,
that could
no.
change their mind?
No, I'm constantly adding new material and getting rid of something that's bad. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you think of something? Is there anything that you could learn, maybe about some of these testimonies, or maybe some of the things you've seen in the past? Is there anything that you could learn that would bring your confidence down to 98, 97%?
I don't know of it. No, I just, it's a life. This is just decades. The evidence is just, it's overwhelming. I mean, our world is up against some very evil people. Hitler subjected the whole world to his occultic beliefs, and now a deep state, we'll call them that, is subjecting the whole world to the same belief system. This just is much more sophisticated than Hitler's and has a lot more technology. And
It sounds like you see. And tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong at any point, just correct me, as I want to make sure I'm understanding you properly.
Right.
It sounds like you see signs of this almost everywhere you look.
Everywhere. Yeah. I mean, and my sources are the best. Like I said, when you get into that aspect of it, my belief that I'm 100% right. It's just there.
Do you ever see anything that you learn that makes you question this? When you look into these ideas, these conspiracy theories, do you ever come across things that don't add up?
Trying to think. Oh, sure. I think the number one thing is I think there's been a lot of damage done by but the statistics show it, but you can't see it. It's not real visible to us as we walk around because it's here and there. And
you're saying there's not as much evidence for that part of it as you would like?
We can't see it. Yeah, I mean, because it's not visible, it does scratch your head, but there's so many scholars showing the statistical data on all the damage that they are doing. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you've mentioned scholars and experts, pilots. You've talked about doctors. Do you ever come across scholars, experts, doctors, pilots who argue the other direction?
Well, the majority of them argue the other direction. Absolutely. So it was, being a conspiracy theorist my whole life, when people make outlandish statements, they're nuts, or they've done a lot of research, and they're always the minority.
Okay.
So this is a story.
So how do you determine whether somebody, who's in one of these minority positions? Because it sounds like you're putting a lot of confidence. Is that true that these experts support a lot of your confidence in this position?
Yeah. I have 1 to 2 lectures going every night.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just taking in.
Yeah.
Lots of information.
Yeah. How do you balance that against the other experts that don't believe these things?
Oh, I don't know. Again, it's just a knowing. I think
it's just a knowing.
Yeah. Again, it's a knowing. I mean,
how does knowing work? Where does this come from?
Your heart.
Okay.
It's just in your heart.
And so if Jim in his heart feels like that the Illuminati is not real and there is no globalist conspiracy going back thousands of years,
then I would show him this.
Is Jim wrong?
No. I mean, that's where I have a credible foundation. I can simplify this, and if anyone could get to Jim and show him something different, I think it's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Jim's not necessarily. Maybe I didn't ask the question quite right. If Jim doesn't believe in the Illuminati, is Jim mistaken?
Sure, he's definitely mistaken.
Okay.
George,
you're confident that you have the truth about the Illuminati, right?
Yeah,
that your
and
position is
you
correct?
got to clarify that it's not a real exactness too. It overlaps in different areas, and you know, George Washington was a Freemason, but he wrote letters writing against the Illuminati. So, and they were infiltrating the Freemasons. So, I mean, you got to really do a lot of research and untwist the story to get it, to get to these globalists, and that is the Rothschild family. You know, it's all about control. They got all the money in the world. Now they're trying to figure out how to control. Hopefully we can get to the bottom of this story. And it's about control, it's about money.
Yeah, do you think you believe in the Illuminati conspiracy because of all of these disparate facts?
All of it, yeah. I mean, it's been endless since Kennedy's death.
Or hold on a second. So is it that you believe these individual stories and those support your belief in the globalist Illuminati thing? Or do you believe in the globalist Illuminati conspiracy maybe because of spiritual beliefs and the Bible?
It's all part of it.
And then that's why you believe these other things.
Yeah.
Which do you think? What order do you think your thinking goes in?
You know, I like the scientific facts. I want to see the facts, and you know, and I believe that all the religions are built on the same foundation, and have been twisted and are on a faulty foundation. You know, the Hindu, the Buddhists, and the Jews, the Muslims, and Christians have way more in common than they have differences. So then they're all telling the same story. They just tell it a little different.
And you think you have the story right?
I think I have a feel for it. Yeah, I mean...
And does that come back to that knowing in your heart?
The knowing, yeah. You know, anyone can see they're getting us ready for a disclosure. And... we're gonna see something like this soon. I mean, they've been talking about it. They had a congressional hearing on it.
Yeah. If that disclosure never happens, let's say 30, 40, 50 years down the road.
It may not in my lifetime.
Would that influence your confidence at all?
No.
No.
Wouldn't change anything. It just means that, you know, we're always got to be ready. I really think this could begin in 2025. The finale revelation, but if it doesn't happen, that's fine too. It's just it's always being ready, you know.
So if it doesn't happen, it's not a confirmation. It's not a disconfirmation of.
No.
Okay.
No, and that's what I'm hoping to get the information out, so it doesn't happen. So we can postpone this, you know, buy some time, and the good start would be putting jail. That'll turn this country around right there. He's the first domino that's got to go down in this last story.
Interesting.
Of course, you had to get the Bushes and the neocons for 9/11.
Huh. Yeah.
I'm not Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
I just search for the truth.
Well, it sounds like there are Democrats and Republicans who are part of the conspiracy.
Oh yeah. I think they're sitting in at all levels. You know.
So, I'm going to kind of try to summarize kind of how I'm viewing your thought process, and you let me know if it's wrong. Okay? Because I'm not, when I'm having these interviews, I'm not so focused or interested in the specific details of the things that you believe.
Right.
So much as I am in how you're evaluating information, how you're coming to the beliefs that you have. So I'm going to kind of try to summarize, and you just jump in if I'm wrong about something, okay? So it sounds to me like you came to this belief in this globalist occult conspiracy organization like the Illuminati, and maybe the main thing supporting this is you're reading these ancient texts, ancient religious texts, and you're interpreting them in this particular way, and you just kind of get this sense that you're interpreting them correctly, this knowing in your heart.
Right.
Does that sound right?
Sure.
And then you see these other things happening, things like 9/11 and things with Hitler and vaccines and all these other things that maybe are you can interpret them in ways that they're kind of like signs pointing to this big globalist conspiracy. Does that sound accurate?
Sure. Yeah.
When you think back on your kind of how you came to this position, do you think that you believed in the globalist conspiracy first, or was it some particular official story?
The globalist conspiracy was first, you know.
Okay.
It's just my passion. It was just fun. And then I was like, oh, God, I'm actually putting a puzzle together.
Okay.
A real story together.
So it kind of starts with that belief in the globalist conspiracy and that basing it on this kind of knowing that you get from reading the Bible and maybe some other ancient texts.
Yeah.
Right? So my question then, and I think this will probably be my last question for you, is if somebody else, like Jim, right? Coming back to Jim, if that's all right. If Jim can do a similar process where he reads these ancient texts, he reads the Bible, maybe he even listens to some scholars and that sort of thing, and he comes to a knowing in his heart that the Illuminati doesn't exist, for example. It's something that he feels very strongly that it's true. He's 100% confident that it's true. Kind of feels it just as a knowing in his heart. What does that say about the reliability of knowing in your heart as a way to arrive at a true belief?
Has zero effect on me. I mean, that's his choice, you know. Yeah, it means nothing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just been at it too long.
Is knowing in your heart a good way to arrive at like a 100% confidence in a belief?
Sure. Yeah. And you could do it. There's, so many different ways. Helping people. You don't have to be a conspiracy theorist, and most people aren't.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying.
Yeah.
We're not judging people who aren't conspiracy theorists as not. We're not saying that's bad. What I'm more interested in is the reliability of how we form beliefs. So, if Jim, let's say if Jim wants to know what's true, and if I want to know what's true, and you want to know what's true, let's say that all three of us, I know Jim's not a real person, if we all value having true beliefs and really want to know the truth, is just having a knowing sense in our heart, is that a reliable way to know what's true?
Sure. Yep.
Even if
that's all we ever have.
Okay. Even if it can bring us to different conclusions.
Yeah. I think the bottom line, what you get out of the massive journey you go on, is you just get humbled. I think St. Thomas Aquinas, one of our greatest Christian writers of all time, just prolific writer, said all is straw at the end of his life. Okay. It's how he passed his life. But it's humbling when you try to understand what we're in and what this is all about, and that's the bottom line. You get to there and you'll find a peace. Yeah. So it's never an exactness, but evil.
Are there reliable ways of knowing what's true?
Yeah, I mean, the greatest thing is evil is well defined, and they tell you what they're going to do, and you do a lot of research. You get to see who controls this planet. It's really is a giveaway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
I got to throw in a couple things. First of all, there's good and bad in everything, every single thing. And the Freemasons did lots of great things, wonderful things. But 33rd degree is based on 33rd latitude and longitude on Paris meridian. And that is Mount Hermon, and that is known as the Mountain of the Gods, and that's where the gods ascended to Earth. That's where these beings came here, which I suspect that's Hitler's blonde-haired, blue-eyed race. So our Apollo astronauts were all 33rd degree Masons, and these were not stupid people.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah. No.
Okay. How did you think the conversation went?
I enjoyed it. That's fun. I'm freezing. It's probably about 74 degrees in the shade, and I got real thin blood.
Well, we were in the sun, then we moved into the
I know,
shade,
but
so,
that was a little too much.
Can't quite get it right. I might be just in the right spot.
I'd rather be cold than
too hot.
getting a sunburn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, if you don't have any questions for me,
no.
Thanks for sitting down and having a conversation.
Hey,
with
it was
me.
fun. Enjoyed it.
Yep. And then I got a little gift for you here. It's a little stress ball reminder of what we're doing here. This is called Street Epistemology.
All right.
And then I've also got a card. My YouTube channel's on there, and you can check out some other conversations I've had with other people about different topics.
Very good.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Dan. Have a good one.
Yep. Thanks. Do you want this?
I've got the information. So
okay, yeah,
the Lear,
right.
right? The pilot Lear. I can look it up. So
yeah,
you can keep the paper. So.
A lot of good names.
Yep. All right. Thanks. Wow. Okay. Well, that was a different kind of experience. I might have let him talk a little bit too much at times, but sometimes I just feel like it's important to let people feel like they're being heard out. I tried to keep it kind of meta. And even when I was trying to keep it kind of meta, the responses to those questions were often just, the things he wanted to say. So, but that was fun at least. So, all right.
Thanks for taking the time to watch this video all the way to the end. I hope you found it thought-provoking, or at least entertaining. If you appreciate the content and tone of what I'm producing, please consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and ringing the bell to be notified when I release a new video. Your support helps me continue creating more videos like this one. I also encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments section. Respectful discourse centered on constructive criticism goes a long way toward helping me improve. Please remember to be kind to everyone featured in the video, just as I am to be when practicing street epistemology. Stay curious and keep questioning.